To rule the world, America had to do the impossible. Conquer speed with the SR-71 Blackbird, stealth with the F-117 Nighthawk, and load the skies with more intelligent weapons than ever before. With the B-2 Spirit, this fighter was the F-22 Raptor, the world's first fifth-generation fighter and the most lethal ever built. But after more than 2 decades of unbelievably unrivaled dominance, the F-22 Raptor now faces its biggest challenge yet: hypersonic missiles from Russia and China. Hypersonic missiles are a new breed of weapons. Unlike anything before them, they fly at somewhat medium altitudes at 5 times the speed of sound or more, while maneuvering to elude any chance of detection or interception. While their insane speeds and unexplored flight altitude makes them immensely formidable, it is their ability to maneuver that really makes these weapons revolutionary. Stopping such a weapon is almost impossible with the air defense systems of today. Thanks to all of these, the most powerful forces in the world are gnashing their teeth in a race to develop the most advanced hypersonic missiles possible. This, of course, includes the usual suspects: Russia, China, and America. For years, analysts have ruled in the court of analysts' opinion that Russia and China are ahead of the US in this race. For good reason, too. Russia already employs its hypersonic missiles in actual combat, as it did in Ukraine. The Kh-47M2 Kinzhal was introduced in December 2017 as a hypersonic aeroballistic air-to-surface missile that can deliver both conventional and nuclear warheads to targets up to 1,200 miles away. On March 18, 2022, about a month after the war in Ukraine began, Russia fired a Kinzhal hypersonic missile against a Ukrainian weapons depot. Despite being over 100 meters underground, the depot met its doom. In February 2024, Russia fired its newer, more advanced Zircon hypersonic missile at a building in Ukraine. The building was left in ruins. These are the first times hypersonic missiles would be used in actual combat. China's hypersonic missiles are just as impressive, if not more. In some ways, they might be the most unstoppable missiles on the planet. 2 missiles in particular have held onto the spotlight: the DF-17 and Xingkong-2. Both of these missiles can take out heavy targets 1,500 miles away. These impressive numbers dwarfed the progress made by the U.S. military's hypersonic missiles, which had been hampered by delays for so long. Giant Lockheed Martin released new details about a new air-launched hypersonic missile in the works called Mako. Mako has been under development for 7 years and has been touted by Lockheed officials as a multi-mission weapon system capable of maritime strike, counter-air defense, and a variety of other surface attack operations. Mako was originally developed as a part of the U.S. Air Force's Stand-in Attack Weapon program. The program aimed to field an air-launched weapon meant specifically to counter elements of anti-access area denial defenses, like air defense radar platforms, surface-to-air missile systems, and anti-ship missile launchers. Lockheed Martin was awarded $35 million to partake in the program. Despite the company's best efforts, Northrop Grumman's offering was selected for the program. It was a blessing in disguise. Lockheed Martin probably had just built a missile that could do much more than suppress enemy air defenses, and more importantly, do what it does from the internal weapons bay of a stealth aircraft. Hypersonic missiles are typically too large to fit inside the weapons bays of these fighters. This is because they usually require large rocket motors and huge amounts of fuel to reach their high speeds. After launch, they then separate from the booster to continue on unpowered or under an alternate form of propulsion. They remain this way until they ram their targets for a most explosive introduction. Mako and its manufacturers figured out a way to cut the missile's operation down to size. Thus, it can find a beautiful home in the weapons bays of every American stealth fighter but the F-35B, due to the presence of its short takeoff and vertical landing lifting fan. The F-35A, F-35C, and F-22 Raptor would happily welcome it, though. Furthermore, it fits like a glove on the hard points of fourth-generation fighters like the FA-18 Super Hornet, EA-18G Growler, F-15E Strike Eagle, F-16C Fighting Falcon, and even the P-8A Poseidon. It's safe to say, Mako isn't picky. It can be carried by nearly every fighter of both the U.S. Air Force and U.S. Navy. So while the Air Force has set its eyes more keenly on the Northrop Grumman offering, Mako still has serious hope with the Navy. All of this goes to show that be it on the Mako or Northrop Grumman's offering, the U.S. Air Force is mighty interested in integrating hypersonic missiles into its fighter jets. The F-22 Raptor inclusive. Launching a hypersonic missile while being only a few tens of miles away from enemy targets would mean little to no reaction time for the targets. It would mean certain destruction and an instant ticket to metallic heaven for the targets. Yet, the U.S. Air Force is only just starting. The service plans to spend about $10.9 billion to upgrade the F-22 into a modern beast. That's enough money to purchase 132 new F-35As. Considering that the Air Force currently only has a fleet of 150 combat-ready F-22s, this boils down to $72.6 million in upgrades per fighter. Needless to say, each of these upgrades will be intensive, extensive, and battle-defining. They include: Number 3. Low-drag tank and pylon. Today, the F-22 has a new major enemy: China. And China has her own F-22 equivalent, the J-20 Mighty Dragon. Should the increasingly likely U.S.-China war break out, the theater would be the Pacific, far away from the comfort of home for the American F-22. And thanks to China's mighty effective long-range surface-to-surface attack capabilities, the nearest American base must be very far away, at least hundreds of miles away. This is bad news for the Raptor, which only has a combat radius between 470 and 600 miles. Of course, external tanks could be installed, but that would heavily degrade the stealth profile of the world's stealthiest fighter. The low-drag tank and pylon upgrade handles this issue, makes it go away like Lawyer Saul from Breaking Bad. A low-drag tank and pylon fields stealthy underwing fuel tanks that don't have nearly the same negative effect on the F-22's stealth profile as the current external tanks. They also break away clean from the fighter, cleaner than the current external tanks whose stealth-degrading connectors remain even after being dropped. Number 2. Infrared Search and Track. The F-22 entered service in 2005, almost 2 decades ago. Construction of the fighter began much earlier too, in the late 1990s. Therefore, the F-22, despite being the best thing since metallic sliced bread, is powered by concepts and technologies that are almost 3 decades old. So although it is still the best pound-for-pound megaweight fighter on the planet, it lacks some newer technologies that more recent fighters wield. One of such technologies is Infrared Search and Track, IRST. IRST is a passive means of targeting that detects and tracks the heat signature produced by enemy fighters, which enables fighters to target even stealth aircraft that don't appear on radar. The F-22 was planned to wield this capability decades ago. However, that was a time when it could dominate easily without it, so the plans never saw the light of day. It's a different time now, a different world, and it'll take something different to dominate the skies. In short, IRST is coming to the F-22 Raptor, apparently in stealthy underwing pods. Number 1. Weapons. It wouldn't be a complete upgrade without new weapons now, would it? War is really won by who can drill the largest holes in enemy soil, despite every attempt to stop it. This is where the hypersonic missiles discussed earlier come into play. But even further than that, helmet-cued targeting joins the game too. Today, the F-22 is the only frontline American fighter that lacks helmet-cued targeting capabilities. This means F-22 pilots must orient the nose of their aircraft at their opponent to lock on and fire. Of course, thanks to the Raptor's insanely powerful AN/APG-77V1 active electronically scanned array radar and its stealth, this can usually be done from 60+ miles away without the adversary fighter even being aware of the F-22's presence. but it nonetheless represents a shortcoming in the fighter's pilot interface. The addition of helmet-cued targeting would allow the Raptor to take full advantage of existing modern weapons like the AIM-9X, which is famously so maneuverable that it can engage adversaries flying behind the aircraft. But until F-22 pilots can target these adversaries using their line of sight, this high off-bore sight targeting capability remains untapped in the Raptor. To this end, the F-22 is now slated for helmet-cued targeting capabilities. Another weapon-based upgrade for the F-22 is the escort of loyal wingmen during missions. These wingmen will semi-autonomously perform core submissions, taking commands from the manned F-22 when needed, all in a sophisticated bid to bring total victory to the United States of America. America's rise to the top is a century-long story that saw the nation develop technologies that didn't exist and incorporate them into a fighter so out of this world, nothing has managed to surpass it after almost 3 decades. And thanks to billions of dollars worth of modernization upgrades, the story might be the same over the coming decades. Transcending generations, the skies will remain ruled by the same lethal machine that introduced a whole new generation of its own, the F-22 Raptor. To pay respects, give the fighter a like down below and subscribe to this channel to see more of it. Thanks for watching.